While not widely recognized as compared to popular icons of their era, both of these men made extremely significant contributions to humanity. Contributions that have continued to grow and prosper through the world today. Their efforts have been recognized and receive the highest honors that can be bestowed within the realm of peace building and humanitarianism. Interestingly, these men were friends and activists within the same movement, a movement that has its roots in a little town in Nova Scotia. Joseph Rotblat received the Nobel Peace Prize for his efforts in 1995, while Cyrus Eaton received the Lenin Peace Prize in 1960. The town that figures prominently in this story is Pugwash, a village on the Northumberland shores of Nova Scotia. The story of these two men and the movement they spawned began much earlier, but let's begin in 1955. Rotblat was a world-renowned physicist who played a key role in the development of the science that led to the innovation of the atomic bomb and its creation of a destructive force, the likes of which had never been seen before. In 1955, the early days of the Cold War, Rotblat worked alongside other highly capable scientists on the advancement of the technology that brought about a sudden and catastrophic end to the Second World War. The project is now known as the Manhattan Project, and its goal was to develop the H-bomb, the first modern weapon of mass destruction, a weapon far more threatening and potentially devastating than the H-bomb that was dropped on Hiroshima.
So imagine the world. Take this circle as the world. And this stone is the size of the bomb that hit Hiroshima. Now there are almost 5,000 weapons of mass destruction. Much larger. How large? That large.
Rotblat left the project on moral grounds in 1955. That same year, other prominent scientists and academics stood by Rotblat. This esteemed group included names like Albert Einstein, Bertrand Russell, Max Born, and Cecil Frank Powell, some of the world's greatest minds, and as it turns out, they weren't short on conscience either. Even in the early days, there were those who clearly understood that weapons technologies being developed in the 1950s would have serious implications for the future of civilization as a whole. Their appeal to the broader community came in the form of a manifesto, the Russell-Einstein Manifesto, which was a declaration of the deepest concern and call to action, appealing to everyone's collective sense of humanity. Cyrus Eaton, an altruistic industrialist, was one of a few at the time who was enlightened and progressive enough to share the concerns expressed by the 11 men responsible for the Russell-Einstein Manifesto, and answered the call. Cyrus Eaton brought some of the world's greatest minds to Pugwash to discuss non-nuclear proliferation and international peace initiatives. These efforts spawned similar meetings and conferences which continue today. These Pugwash conferences are held around the world and are attended by some of the world's greatest thinkers who are still very concerned about the future and well-being of the human race. The world has changed. The original gatherings was held during the early years of the Cold War. The equation at that time was less complex when it involved only two developing superpowers. Today, there are 10 countries that have weapons of mass destruction in their possession, and close to 5,000 of these weapons are located around the world. But there is good news. There are many more countries that are now involved in the pursuit of peace and non-proliferation. These countries are involved in the Pugwash movement and conferences. However, these countries are interested in sustaining peace.
I'm Amy. As a mother, as a teacher, and as a human being, my commitment as a peacemaker will be to create an environment in my home and my classroom that will promote the development of peaceful individuals and their ability to resolve conflict constructively.
I am April. As a mother, as a nurse, as a human being, my commitment as a peacemaker will be to embody compassion and understanding in both my personal and professional life.
I am Mark. As a father, as a caretaker, and as a human being, my commitment as a peacemaker will be to take more time to study, to learn, and to think beyond my own personal boundaries and borders.
I am Linda. As an educator, a mother, and as a human being, my commitment as a peacemaker is to continue peace-building work to facilitate peaceful decisions, to inspire others to embrace and understand the concept of peacefulness, and to nurture the recognition that each of us has a responsibility for achieving world peace. I believe we can make a difference one person at a time.
Hi, I'm Ginny. As an international promoter, as a leadership trainer, as a human being, my commitment as a peacemaker will be to promote peace and education for people from different cultures so that they can understand better and find the global standard of leadership in the 21st century.
I am Marie. As a dietitian, as a daughter, and a human being, my commitment as a peacemaker will be to advocate for equality and equal access to the tools and resources required to achieve health.
Our call to action
As peacemakers,
Will be to uphold,
The same level of courage and commitment
demonstrated by Joseph Roblant, Cyrus Eaton,
and other notable peace activists and builders
that have come before us to the Thinkers' Lodge.